What up? Hope you're doing well. This is the first of two movies. This one is designed to show you how to download the file, get it saved in the right location, and opened up in Ableton, and then I had a few quick notes for you also. Here is my Gmail. I copied myself on the email that I just sent you. And I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to click on download. The Ableton session, the ALS session, is I just attached it directly to the email. So it'll download into my downloads folder, and then I'm going to copy it over here into this Live Show Master project folder, which is where we were saving the other versions that we'd been working on. So yours should look like this right now. This is what you took home the other day. And then what we want to do is, I'm going to do this by opening a new Finder window so I can have both locations open at the same time. And then I'm going to go to my downloads folder, and I'm going to find the Live Show Master version 2.1 that I just downloaded. And then I'm going to click and drag it over into this Live Show Master project folder. So now when we go back and we look at the Live Show Master project folder, we've got the three versions you had last time, as well as the new version 2.1. Now we could just double click and open this directly from here, or you could go, the recommended way, at least this first time, is to go to Ableton, just launch it like you normally do. Go to the File menu, and then choose Open, Live Set, or you can just hit Command-O. And then it took me right back to that same folder because that's the last place I was. Yours will likely do the same thing. But if not, just navigate to Documents, Music Projects, Live Show Template, version 9, Live Show Master Project, and finally open up Live Show Master version 2.1. Now you won't need anything besides just the file that I attached to the email. I did add a couple of different click tracks, which I'll describe briefly in a moment, but the samples that those click tracks use, the sounds that they actually make, are part of the factory library from Ableton Live, and that gets installed along with the program when you install it for the first time. The reason I did that is to make sure that we would have the same samples, and that any other computer that you happen to open this up on that had Ableton would have those same samples as well, so it'd be one less dependency. So I don't remember if this is exactly how we saved the view in your session last time or not, but just to review real quick, in the far bottom right hand corner we can expand, show, or hide the inspector that allows us to look at the content of these different clips, whether it's audio or MIDI. Those that I just showed you were a couple of the new click tracks that I added, or audio. And for the most part we can keep that out of the way. The immediately above that are the view controls that show the input and output, which is I/O, the sends and returns on the mixer. That's what the headphone mix is controlled with. And then the M stands for the mixer itself, which is the panning and the volume knob for each one of these channels. I don't think you're going to be using this either, but you might want to be doing some muting or unmuting of the backing tracks, and so you'd have to expand, click the M in order to do that. The last two, delay and crossfader, you're not going to use. One other thing you might notice is if I click the I/O here, I'm sorry, if I click the S for the sends, this is the headphone mixes there. All of the channels that you're interested in, I took them and made them just a teeny bit narrower than they are by default, and you can see it changes from the knob to an actual numeric display that tells you precisely what the level is. You can still click and drag to change it, but you can also click it to select it, type in the number 3, hit enter. I'm sorry, I'll go to -3, and then it'll take it right to that value. So anywhere that there are knobs, that's not something you're concerned with. I left those channels wider. And then anywhere that you are actually making adjustments to the headphone mix, I made the tracks a little narrower so they show up at this -3. So visually, I just thought it was something that was a little bit easier to deal with. And then on the return tracks, that's where we're sending these to. On the far right, you can see in-ear 1 is Whitney. I labeled that Whitney. In-ear 2 is drums. In-ear 1 that's Whitney is going to, if I turn the input-output on, the external output 5 and 6, and in-ear 2 for drums is going to external output 7 and 8. So that should be the way it was set up before, and that means that this row here of C's that are all at -3 right now, that is the send level for each one of these tracks, which is basically the volume level for each one of these tracks that's going to your headphones. and the row here D, that fourth row down, is for the drummer's headphones, which are over here on this output going to 7 and 8. So just wanted to mention that. Nothing different structurally, I just refined the view a little bit and then I added the labels to the tracks here. So in order to hear in-ear 1 Whitney in your headphones, if you're plugged into the front of the Motu, you've got to actually go down to the dock here at the bottom and go to the Motu audio setup. It looks like a little microphone. Mine looks a teeny bit different than yours because my interface has fewer options, but what you're looking for here is phones assign, and then we want to choose analog 5 and 6 so that the phone's output on the front of the Motu is listening to the mix that we set up, the headphone mix that we set up in Ableton for 5 and 6. So that's really all you need to know to get this up and running. The click tracks that I added, I'll clean up my view real quick here, just turn off a few of these. The click tracks that I added are W click and D click. The click track that was in there before is called old click. So that one right now, if we pull up the mixer, the old click is muted and these two are unmuted. So if you decide that it's not working and you want to go back to the old click, then you would just mute the 2 new ones that I created and unmute the old click, and everything will go back to exactly the way that it was before. I would recommend, even if you are going to use the old click, I'd recommend that you still use this newer version 2.1 of the set. There are a few more tweaks that I made that will make the operation more consistent versus the 2.0 version that I sent you home with last time. So for starters, you'll have a click track that is going just to your headphones. I'll show that on the sends here. You can see this one. These are the only 2 channels that do that. The Whitney click, W click, is going at -3 dB along with all the other channels to your headphones, but none of this is going to the drummer. And similarly on the drummer track, nothing's going to your headphones, it's only going to the drummer's headphones. The reason for this is because there's more content, there are more actual clicks happening throughout the songs in the drummer's track there, and I'll explain a little bit more about that in the next video. So hopefully that should get you started, and then the next video is intended for you as well as the drummer to refer back to. I was hoping it wouldn't, you wouldn't need to watch this one more than one time once you get set up. So I will be right back. Talk to you soon.